Ron Howard as Richie Cunningham. When Happy Days is mentioned, audiences' hearts instantly soften at the image of Richie Cunningham, the red-haired boy with a gentle smile, a symbol of kindness and a pure American dream.
I played chess.
You play with her chest?
No, chess, Fonzie. The game, chess.
Ron Howard breathed vivid life into Richie, turning him into the all-American son every mother wanted to protect, a warm, emotional anchor amid the turbulence of the 1970s.
Well, that answers that question.
Yet behind the adoration of millions lay a cruel psychological sentence. Ron Howard was imprisoned by his own flawless image. As early as 1960, at just 6 years old, he was thrown into Hollywood's ruthless machinery, living under the extreme expectations of his father, Rance Howard. His childhood left no room for freedom, only suffocating pressure to keep Richie's image spotless. That confinement reached its breaking point when he realized he had become a doll inside a gilded glass cage, every step closely monitored. Crushing loneliness overtook the young man as he forced himself to perform happiness while his personal identity slowly faded beneath the weight of fame.
What's up?
Fonz? Now, I don't like this. Girls hitting each other.
The most painful turning point came in 1980, when Ron made a desperate escape from the series to save himself, only to be met with brutal public coldness. Fans who once adored him turned into harsh judges, viewing his departure as a betrayal of the Cunningham family. For years afterward, Ron Howard struggled in the shadows of doubt, mocked by critics as a washed-up child actor as he reached for the director's chair. The tragedy deepened with successive personal losses. The death of his father, Rance, in 2017, and the anguished passing of his on-screen sister, Erin Moran, later that same year, found homeless and broken. It was bitterly ironic that the radiant Richie on screen had to witness those he loved most vanish into poverty and illness, leaving him alone amid the ruins of memory.
Hey, have you seen Potsy around? Oh, great. Thanks a lot. I'll see you, Fonzie.
Though the image of Richie Cunningham officially closed with the final episode in 1984, Ron Howard's quiet sacrifice forged an enduring legacy for world cinema. He shed the glow of stardom to devote himself fully to life behind the camera, even as that path was scarred by loss and heartache. Richie may belong to the past, but his spirit endures, a cherished memory, a symbol of sincerity that time can never erase. Ron Howard's decision to walk away in 1980 ignited a fierce controversy that has echoed for decades. Many viewers expressed deep sympathy, seeing it as the rightful longing of a true artist, an attempt to break free from the Richie Cunningham glass cage and finally assert his own identity. Yet others remained sharply critical, viewing the move as a cold, pragmatic turn of the back, a selfish choice that abandoned the on-screen family that carried him to the height of fame. So what do you think? Was it a courageous escape in the name of art, or an unforgivable betrayal of the public's love? Leave a 1 if you support Ron Howard, or a 0 if you believe he was too ungrateful to his past. Henry Winkler as Arthur Fonzie, Fonzarelli. Arthur Fonzie. Fonzarelli was once an everlasting symbol of confidence, a streetwise rebel in a powerful black leather jacket who could make the whole world look up with nothing more than the snap of his fingers. Henry Winkler turned him into a living legend, the most stylish guardian angel 1970s television ever produced, offering a sense of absolute safety to anyone standing beside him.
Hiya, Richie. All right, fellas, help yourself to some cue sticks here, huh?
The cruel truth is that behind Fonzie's proud armor lived a spirit cracked by wounds that began in childhood. Henry Winkler grew up under rejection from his own parents, who repeatedly mocked him as a slow child. simply because his dyslexia went undiagnosed. While Fonzie owned every room he entered, Henry in real life trembled over script pages, battling the humiliation of being labeled lazy. In 1974, as the show became a global sensation, Henry still lived in the shadow of toxic insecurity. Terrified the world would discover that the coolest Fonzie on earth couldn't smoothly read even a simple line of text. That pain quietly gnawed at him, turning fame into a heavy mask that hid psychological scars that never fully healed. The storm inside him grew even harsher when Happy Days ended in 1984 and he fell into a pit of professional dismissal. For 8 long years afterward, Fonzie's leather jacket became an accidental tomb for Henry's career, as directors refused to see him in any new roles. The stalled momentum left him numb, facing unemployment and the haunting fear that he was nothing more than a relic of the past. The tragedy tightened its grip when he watched his wife, Stacy Weitzman, enter a life-or-death battle with breast cancer in 2001. And the blows kept coming. The sudden death of his close friend John Ritter in 2003 on a set, and the passing of his little sister, Erin Moran, in 2017 in heartbreaking poverty, struck at Henry's spirit. Watching the people he loved most fade in pain, he slipped into an unbearable loneliness, where the brightest memories became nothing but sorrowful fragments.
Huh? Yeah. And the thing is that she is, I don't know, how would you say it, a good sport? Will you sit down?
Yet even as the Fonz has receded into history, Henry Winkler's extraordinary resilience has become a hymn of hope for those who came after. He fought life's darkness with kindness and limitless patience, leaving behind a legacy not only of unforgettable scenes, but of faith in renewal. Arthur Fonzarelli may be resting now, but Henry's warmth and courage will remain a flame that keeps the living heart steady. Erin Moran as Joanie Cunningham. Joanie Cunningham, the little sister with bright eyes and playful wit, was once the irreplaceable spark of youthful energy in the Cunningham household. Through Erin Moran's lively performance, Joanie grew up alongside millions of American teenagers, becoming a companion to their own coming-of-age years. Audiences adored her innocence, seeing in her a symbol of hope and the sweetest dreams of the 1970s.
Richie, you gotta come home right away, right this minute.
Who died and left her boss?
Sit on it, Malph.
Behind the radiant smile on screen, however, Erin Moran's life was early engulfed by harsh control from her own family. From the age of 5, she was turned into a source of income by her parents, stripped of a carefree childhood and thrown into Hollywood's relentless machinery. Her career began to crumble after the failure of the spin-off Joanie Loves Chachi in 1982, when the industry turned its back on her in what should have been the brightest years of her 20s. Unable to withstand the pressure of fading fame, Erin fell into a spiral of alcohol and substance abuse, rapidly eroding both her beauty and her spirit. She lived under the industry's cold rejection, once celebrated as a muse, now dismissed as a problem to be pushed aside.
You'll be naked, nude?
Sure. That doesn't bother you, does it?
Bother me? Are you kidding? I was born nude.
The deepest heartbreak came as poverty and illness closed in during her final years. In 2010, her California home was foreclosed, forcing her and her husband, Steve Fleischman, into a transient life, sheltering in a cramped trailer at a mobile home park in Indiana. Amid extreme hardship, a death sentence arrived in late 2016. Stage 4, throat cancer. Crippled by financial ruin, she endured excruciating pain without adequate medical care. On April 22, 2017, the world was stunned to learn that Erin Moran had passed away on the floor of that aging trailer at the age of 56. A star once adored by all of America ended her earthly journey homeless, isolated, and in profound agony, abandoned by the fading glow of former fame. Erin Moran's passing remains a painful scar in the hearts of Happy Days fans, a stark reminder of the unforgiving cost of fame. Though her private life was marked by wounds and tragedy, the pure image of little Joanie Cunningham endures as an immortal memory. She gave her youth to the screen, and now, after a lifetime of storms, her soul has finally found eternal peace. Anson Williams as Potsy Weber. Potsy Weber, the awkward yet sincere young man, was an essential piece of the legendary trio at Arnold's Drive-In. Through Anson Williams's natural performance, Potsy appeared naive and often the target of playful jokes, yet always steadfastly loyal. He embodied the quintessential American teenager, bringing laughter and easy comfort to millions of households every Tuesday night.
Pump up, pump, 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 pump up, pump, 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 pump up, pump, 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 pumps your blood.
The dazzling glow of Potsy, however, became an invisible wall between Anson and his longing to prove his own worth within a distinguished family lineage. Born with the surname Heimlich, he lived in the towering shadow of his uncle, Dr. Henry Heimlich, the world-renowned physician who invented the life-saving Heimlich maneuver. Family expectations weighed heavily on him, leaving Anson feeling like an outsider, a fool on screen among brilliant intellectuals. When Happy Days ended in 1984, his acting career stalled completely as directors turned him away, trapped by the stigma of a sitcom face. Rejection forced him to step away from the spotlight with deep regret, retreating quietly behind the scenes to begin again from nothing, carrying the ache of an unfinished career.
Put your head on my shoulder.
The cruelest turn came later in life, when Anson faced both a death sentence and personal collapse. In 2016, he quietly battled colon cancer, enduring near-death moments on the operating table and grueling treatments that ravaged his body in silence. Before the physical pain had faded, another blow struck. In 2019, he filed for divorce from his wife, Jackie Gherkin, ending what seemed to be a fulfilled 31-year marriage. At 70, he confronted profound loneliness in an empty home, haunted by unrelenting grief over the death of his close friend Erin Moran in 2017. Watching the pieces of the Happy Days family slowly crumble through illness and poverty, Anson sank into quiet despair, powerless as the golden years of his life were gradually erased by time. Though Potsy Weber belongs to the past, Anson Williams's journey through adversity stands as a powerful story of rebirth. He transformed pain into purpose, finding success as a director and leaving his mark through a body of respected television work. Despite the scars of his private life, the image of Potsy singing joyfully at Arnold's will forever remain a shining chapter, a pristine memory cherished by all who loved the show. Marion Ross as Marion Cunningham. Marion Cunningham, the mother with a boundless heart and skillful hands, was the quiet flame that kept the family home alive through all 11 seasons. Through Marion Ross's warm embodiment, she became the ideal image of the 1970s homemaker, gentle yet quietly strong. She was not only Richie's mother, but a safe harbor for any lost child who found their way to the house at 565 North Clinton.
And now we should reap the rewards.
And this is it?
You bet.
In stark contrast to the fullness she portrayed on screen, Marion Ross's real life was a long struggle against abandonment and poverty. In 1969, her 18-year marriage to Freeman Meskimen collapsed, leaving her a single mother in her early 40s in an unforgiving Hollywood. During this period, studios all but forgot her, and she lived with constant dread as her bank account drained, and the future of her 2 young children grew uncertain. She swallowed her pride to attend hundreds of auditions, only to be met with rejection after rejection for being deemed past her prime. The pain of an artist desperate to give, yet pushed to the margins, opened a bleeding wound, one that drove her repeatedly into depression and profound despair.
Later on, so what do you say?
Men stink.
You're right, I'll eat it myself. All right, I'm sorry.
No, not you. I was upstairs just now and I heard it all.
I tried to keep it so quiet, I'm very embarrassed.
The cruelest turning point came with old age. Instead of peace, she found herself entangled in legal battles and the loss of those dearest to her. In 2011, at age 82, she and the Happy Days cast were forced to sue CBS for millions of dollars in withheld image royalties, a bitter betrayal by the very empire that had built her fame. That same year, the death of her partner, Paul Michael, stripped away her last emotional anchor, leaving her alone in a large, echoing home. The deepest anguish followed in 2017 when she watched her on-screen daughter, Erin Moran, fade away and die in homelessness. Being unable to shield that child from the ravages of poverty and illness became a sentence of conscience that tormented Marion through her later years. The radiant mother of America was left standing alone amid the shattered memories of a television family, forever dissolved.
When you can't even experience it in real life.
I have raised a husband and 2 children. If that's not life, buddy, I don't know what is.
Now, in her mid-90s and long removed from the spotlight, Marion Ross remains an enduring symbol of compassion and extraordinary resilience. She weathered life's storms with the strength of a mother and the integrity of a true artist. Her legacy extends beyond classic scenes. It lives in the warmth of Marion Cunningham's smile, a smile that comforted countless hearts, even as she herself carried unspoken pain. Tom Bosley as Howard Cunningham. Howard Cunningham was the irreplaceable moral anchor, a model father whose quiet compassion embraced every bit of youthful trouble at Arnold's drive-in. Through Tom Bosley's gentle performance, the character became a steady pillar, warming millions of American homes for more than a decade. Viewers found in him absolute reassurance, the ideal family figure so many longed for in real life.
Can I ask you a favor?
Yeah.
Would you mind, leaving your pigeons with me overnight?
Hidden beneath the calm authority of the Cunningham patriarch were psychological scars shaped by the hunger and hardship of the Great Depression in Chicago. Anxiety over financial instability followed Tom Bosley relentlessly, even at the height of his fame. Cruelly, in 1978, while the series was enjoying resounding success, he faced devastating loss when his beloved wife, John Elliott, passed away from cancer. Raising his daughter Amy alone, while maintaining a cheerful smile on national television demanded a nearly exhausting strength. He played the happy father on screen, but within lived a shattered soul, grappling in solitude with the vast emptiness his wife left behind.
Why don't we triple them? Just for fun.
Well, why don't we say no limit?
Oh, well, now, I don't know. All right. That's all right.
The darkest chapter arrived when his final years were overshadowed by a death sentence called lung cancer. Tom chose quiet endurance, silently enduring the ravages of chemotherapy to protect the unbroken image the public cherished. Tragedy reached its peak in 2010, when a sudden staph infection struck his already weakened immune system, turning his last days into a brutal fight for life. On October 19, 2010, at a hospital in California, the nation's dad passed away at the age of 83. More bitter still, after his death, His family was forced into a prolonged legal battle with CBS in 2011 to recover misappropriated royalty payments. A symbol of integrity was, in the end, treated coldly by the very institution he had served, reduced to heartless calculations.
Now, who won?
I don't know. Does Mr. Candlestick Maker beat Old Maid?
Marion.
Tom Bosley's passing left a vast emptiness, marking the close of a golden era in television history. Though his body has returned to dust, the legacy of Howard Cunningham's decency and kindness remains a flame that continues to warm generations of viewers. He lived a life fully devoted to his craft, leaving behind a priceless lesson in steadfast grace, even in the most harrowing hours. Don Most as Ralph Malph. Ralph Malph, the wisecracking young man with his trademark beret and rapid-fire jokes, was always the spark of chaos at Arnold's drive-in. Don Most infused the character with an irresistible, mischievous charm, creating a comic presence unlike any other alongside Richie and Potsy. Audiences remember Ralph as the friend who could always chase away sadness with the goofy optimism of youth.
Richie, please, two's company. Rich, didn't you hear me?
I'm gonna smash you, Malph!
Yet the meteoric fame of Ralph became, paradoxically, the grave that buried Don Most's dream of being taken seriously as an artist. He grew up under fierce opposition from his family, who dismissed acting as a disreputable profession, repeatedly wounding the pride of a young performer. In 1980, Don made a risky decision to leave the show in its 7th season, hoping to pursue deeper dramatic roles. Hollywood, however, slammed the door shut, unwilling to accept a comic face in serious projects. For years that followed, his career fell into paralysis. He survived on minor guest appearances just to pay the bills, living with the quiet humiliation of watching himself fade into a forgotten relic in the heart of the film capital.
Wait! Look!
The harshest chapter arrived later in life, when personal loss and industry betrayal closed in on him at once. In 2011, Don and his former castmates were forced into an exhausting legal battle with CBS to reclaim unlawfully withheld image royalties, a bitter awakening to the coldness of an industry that had once treated him as a golden asset. The anguish deepened in 2017 when he learned that his on-screen sister, Erin Moran, had died in poverty at a mobile home park. Don carried an unshakable guilt for not being able to reach out and save her in her darkest days. Declining health and chronic joint pain that flared with changing seasons eventually kept him from returning to the stage he loved. The aging artist was left to face a lonely reality, where the applause of the past echoed faintly inside a soul fractured beyond repair. Though Don Most's artistic journey is marked by painful lows, his steadfastness and undying passion remain deeply admirable. He spent a lifetime proving there was substance behind Ralph Malph's laughter, leaving behind a lesson in resilience against time's cruelty. Ralph may belong to another era, but Don's spirit and his quiet contributions will forever remain a bright memory in the hearts of those who loved the show. Scott Baio as Chachi Arcola. Chachi Arcola, the wandering teen with his signature wah wah wah, was once the dream prince who set millions of teenage hearts racing in the 1970s. Scott Baio ignited the character's allure with a rugged, streetwise look paired with an intensely romantic devotion to Joanie. He became a symbol of youth itself, a dazzling pop culture phenomenon during the golden age of American television.
Oh, this is... You poor guy.
But the weight of fame arriving too early, at just 13, quietly pushed Scott Baio into a maze of disorientation and the entertainment industry's harshest traps. In 1982, the highly anticipated spin-off Joanie Loves Chachi collapsed in humiliating failure, causing his A-list status to crumble almost overnight. The pressure to maintain a spotless idol image while his career slid downward sent him into psychological panic, driving him toward reckless partying as a means of escape. The pain deepened in 2010 with the death of his father and devoted manager, Baio, stripping away his last emotional anchor. That loss plunged him into depression, leaving him wandering amid the ruins of former glory with no clear way out. The years that followed became a long, dark stretch marked by professional rejection and haunting verdicts of conscience. In 2017, the death of his on-screen love, Erin Moran, found destitute and homeless, delivered a crushing blow, intensified by a fierce public backlash to Scott's own poorly received, unempathetic remarks. Personal tragedy tightened its grip when his young daughter, Bailey, was suspected of having a rare metabolic disorder, forcing the family to live for years under the shadow of potential loss. Then, in 2018, allegations of harassment from former co-star Nicole Eggert shattered what remained of his reputation, transforming him from a once-adored idol into a figure widely shunned. In later life, Scott found himself isolated, enduring public hostility and the bitter side of a lifetime's legacy buried beneath scandals that refused to fade. Though the image of the charming Chachi now survives only in fractured memory, Scott Baio's contributions to a radiant era cannot be denied. He lived suspended between the blinding heights of fame and the abyss beneath it, tasting the full cruelty of celebrity. His life story endures as a painful reminder of the brutal shadows that lurk behind Hollywood's glittering lights. Al Molinaro as Al Delvecchio. Al Delvecchio, the kind-hearted owner of Arnold's drive-in with his unmistakable nose, was always ready to listen to the worries of Milwaukee's youth. Through Al Molinaro's gentle portrayal, the character carried a slow, unpretentious warmth and deep empathy, turning the diner into a second home for the show's core cast. He stood as a quiet pillar of comfort, offering calm amid the turbulence of youth.
No, I didn't come here to eat. What kind of room? I came here because I gotta tell you something, Louisa.
Al Molinaro's path to an artistic dream was a long struggle marked by poverty and cruel delay. Born in 1919 into a large immigrant family in Wisconsin, he buried his passion for acting for more than 30 years, taking on grueling manual jobs, from debt collection to real estate, simply to survive. Not until the age of 50, already past life's midpoint, did he dare to stake his meager savings on one last gamble in Los Angeles. In the early 1970s, producers often met him with mockery, dismissing him as an aging outsider and rejecting him at hundreds of auditions for lacking star potential. Financial anxiety and age discrimination weighed heavily, driving the late-blooming artist to moments of despair in cheap rented rooms.
Turn it on again, will you?
The harshest chapter came in his final years, when betrayal by the industry and relentless physical pain converged. In 2011, at 92, instead of enjoying peace, Al was forced into a tense legal battle with CBS to reclaim misappropriated image royalties, a bitter exposure of the coldness of an industry to which he had devoted his later life. His health declined rapidly as gallstones led to severe complications causing weeks of excruciating pain. On October 30th, 2015, at a hospital in Glendale, California, Al Molinaro passed away in profound quiet. It was heartbreaking that the man who had warmed millions with laughter ended his earthly journey between cold white walls, carrying the ache of watching his screen family unravel, witnessing younger colleagues like Erin Moran fade into poverty. Molinaro's death at 96 left a vast emptiness in the hearts of Happy Days fans. He stands as proof of an indomitable spirit, never giving up despite a late, arduous start. His legacy is more than the laughs shared at Arnold's. It is a lesson in compassion and perseverance. Delvecchio may be at rest, but the warmth of his kindness will live on in our memory. Ted McGinley as Roger Phillips. Roger Phillips, Marion Cunningham's refined nephew, arrived like a fresh breeze, bringing calm intelligence to Jefferson High. Through Ted McGinley's spirited performance, the role became that of a model teacher, one who guided young people with patience and kindness. With his classically handsome looks, he quickly emerged as a reliable older brother figure, a symbol of stability and hope during the show's final seasons.
Something's wrong. What? I don't know.
Beneath that leading man exterior, however, lay a brutal career sentence. Ted McGinley was branded the notorious sitcom killer, a toxic label that shadowed him for decades. Hollywood and television executives cruelly cast him as bad luck, the man whose arrival supposedly signaled the end of beloved series. The stigma became a heavy psychological burden, grinding down an artist's self-worth as genuine effort was twisted into an omen. For years, Ted struggled to prove his acting depth, only to be boxed into shallow, decorative roles. This quiet discrimination sparked an identity crisis, leaving him in constant anxiety about being discarded by an industry obsessed with the next new face.
I hope this isn't what I think it is.
I think this is exactly what you think it is.
Fonz, how could you do this to me?
Hey, I was just doing it. I didn't know I was doing it to you.
The true cruelty surfaced as he confronted betrayal by television empires and the unraveling of his closest bonds. In 2011, Ted watched early collaborators like Marion Ross and Anson Williams endure an exhausting million-dollar legal battle with CBS to reclaim misappropriated image royalties, a bitter reminder of how artists are drained and discarded. His spirit suffered further wounds as he said goodbye to mentors who shaped him, most painfully the loss of director Gary Marshall in 2016. Witnessing the Happy Days family fade through illness and isolation plunged Ted into prolonged melancholy. In later years, he fought alone to protect his reputation amid personal attacks and the ruthless forgetfulness of the digital age. He held together his small home life, yet inside carried the ache of seeing a lifetime of work reduced to a sad footnote, the supposed end of golden eras. Despite tearful highs and lows, Ted McGinley's enduring resilience shines as a testament to steadfast devotion to craft. He weathered storms of criticism with kindness and the composure of a true gentleman. Roger Phillips may be a distant memory, but Ted's spirit and tireless perseverance remain a song of resolve, reminding us to honor the quiet contributions that live behind the brightest lights. Cathy Silvers as Jenny Piccolo. Jenny Piccolo, the spirited young woman with a mischievous streak and whirlwind romances, arrived like a fresh gust of wind, stirring the calm world of the Cunningham family. Through Cathy Silvers's lively portrayal, Jenny burst with energy, delivering hearty laughter through delightfully awkward situations. She embodied youthful confidence, a playful spark that made the friendships on screen feel vivid and alive.
Oh, I made it.
Not bad.
It's bad.
Very, very bad.
Yeah, I know, but...
Behind the on-screen humor, however, Cathy Silvers's real life became a long struggle to escape the shadow of overwhelming expectations. Bearing the legendary surname of her father, Phil Silvers, she faced relentless pressure from a public that demanded extraordinary success to match her lineage. His death in 1985 struck a devastating blow, plunging the young actress into prolonged emotional darkness after losing her only true guide. More bitter still, the success of Jenny Piccolo became an iron cage that trapped her career. After 1984, Hollywood coldly rejected Cathy's attempts to reinvent herself, slamming the door on deeper, more meaningful roles. Once a rising star, she was pushed to the margins, scraping by on minor guest appearances, haunted by the quiet humiliation of watching her spotlight fade.
Oh, I crashed one once, and the guys that dragged me out were the cutest guys I've ever seen. Strong, too.
The deepest anguish surfaced as Cathy confronted betrayal by the industry and cascading personal losses. Her 8-year marriage to Alexander Burnett ended in 1996, leaving her a single mother amid severe financial turmoil. In 2011, at age 50, she was forced into an exhausting legal battle with CBS to reclaim misappropriated image royalties, a harsh revelation of the industry's ingratitude toward those it once celebrated. Tragedy reached its breaking point in 2017 with the death of her on-screen friend Erin Moran, who passed away in poverty. The loss tormented Cathy, reigniting painful questions about the cruel fate of child stars. Now, later in life, she has stepped away from the spotlight, turning instead to the food business, carrying the quiet sorrow of an artist left behind by time, alone among the ashes of once golden memories. Though Jenny Piccolo now belongs to another era, Cathy Silvers's optimism and remarkable resilience remain worthy of deep respect. She has crossed life's fractures with unwavering strength, transforming pain into the drive to seek a calmer, more grounded future. The image of Jenny, bright, vibrant, and full of life, endures as a warm flame in the hearts of viewers, a testament to a gifted spirit marked by courage and grace. Pat Morita as Arnold. Arnold, the Japanese-born diner owner with his wry sayings and gentle smile, stood as a symbol of cultural crossroads at the heart of Milwaukee. Pat Morita shaped the character with a quiet magnetism, at once a crafty elder friend and a kindred spirit to youthful troubles. His presence brought calm, filling the diner with a sense of belonging and familial warmth. In stark contrast to his nimble on-screen persona, Pat Morita's real life was marked by years of painful confinement that began in early childhood. At just 2 years old, a devastating diagnosis of spinal tuberculosis sentenced him to 9 long years immobilized inside a medical iron cage at Weimar Children's Hospital. While other children ran and played, Pat endured isolation, seeing the world through a narrow window, his body encased in plaster from neck to ankles. The suffering did not end there. In 1943, just as he was learning to take his first steps after complex surgery, he and his family were sent to the Gila River internment camp amid World War II hysteria. A childhood stripped of freedom and scarred by brutal racial discrimination carved a vast psychological wound, leaving him to carry lifelong shame about his origins and even his own body. The tragedy deepened when Hollywood's glow proved powerless against chronic physical pain and the devastation of severe alcoholism. Pat turned to alcohol as a numbing escape from reality, a coping mechanism that destroyed all 3 of his marriages and fractured his relationships with his children beyond repair. In his final years, his once vibrant body deteriorated rapidly due to complications from urinary tract and gallbladder infections, culminating in acute kidney failure. November 2005 became a breathless fight for survival, waged quietly at his home in Las Vegas. On November 24, 2005, Pat Morita passed away at the age of 73, his organs exhausted. Bitterly, even in his final moments, his family remained entangled in draining legal disputes with CBS to reclaim rightful compensation, a somber end for a legend who had spent a lifetime trading laughter for solitude and illness. Pat Morita's passing left an immeasurable sense of loss for all who loved the mischievous owner of Arnold's. He rose above iron cages and barbed wire to become one of the most significant Asian American artists in U.S. television history. Though his soul has finally found release from pain, his smile and indomitable spirit remain an eternal part of Happy Days and of the hearts he warmed. Linda Goodfriend as Lori Beth Allen. Lori Beth Allen, Richie Cunningham's girlfriend and later his devoted wife, always shone with quiet elegance and unwavering loyalty. Through Linda Goodfriend's nuanced performance, she became the ideal woman of the 1970s. A gentle partner who stood shoulder to shoulder with the Cunningham family through every rise and fall. Audiences found comfort in her presence, a sense of calm that completed the dream of true, enduring love.
Baby Cunningham, your daddy's gonna be so proud of you.
Behind the camera, however, reality unfolded as a journey filled with harsh barriers, as Linda found herself trapped by her own success. Being permanently cast as the model wife led Hollywood to mercilessly close off opportunities for growth after the series ended in 1984. For many years, she faced the cold indifference of the spotlight, ultimately stepping away from acting to work behind the scenes as a director, an exit marked by deep regret. This risky career shift plunged her into repeated crises of identity, living with constant self-doubt as her abilities were endlessly questioned. Financial pressures and anxiety about an uncertain future drained her strength, turning a star at the height of her talent into a faint silhouette, fighting alone to reclaim a place in an industry notoriously quick to forget. The most painful turn came when Linda endured successive losses of both loved ones and faith in the entertainment industry itself. In 2011, later in life, she and her colleagues were forced into a prolonged legal battle with CBS to recover misappropriated image royalties, a bitter betrayal by the very institution that had once called her family. The anguish deepened in 2017 with the news that her close friend Erin Moran had died in extreme poverty. Watching the precious pieces of Happy Days crumble one by one under the weight of illness and hardship pushed Linda into a long period of emotional darkness. The death of her mentor, Gary Marshall, in 2016 only drew her further into isolation. She was left carrying deep psychological scars, witnessing the brightest era of her life slowly recede into obscurity amid a reality ruled by calculation and cold indifference. Though the glow of Lori Beth has faded with time, Linda Goodfriend's quiet contributions to art and education remain a legacy worth honoring. She weathered life's storms with steadfast resolve, transforming pain into purpose as she guided younger generations of artists. Lori Beth may now belong to memory, but the warmth of Linda's love and dedication endures, an enduring flame that continues to comfort those who remember. Linda Pearl as Ashley Pfister. Ashley Pfister, the woman of classic beauty and quiet grace, was once the safest harbor in Fonzie's restless life. Through Linda Pearl's nuanced performance, she emerged as a strong single mother, bringing maturity and emotional depth to the show's later seasons. She embodied warmth itself, a delicate presence that softened the rough edges of the legendary The Fonz.
Me too. Now, what would French Impressionists be without Ed Sullivan?
I have said that.
Behind the screen, Linda Pearl's inner world was shaped by identity conflict and the brutal pressure of being cast aside. Raised in Japan, she spent her formative years feeling unmoored, forever an outsider upon returning to the United States. When she joined the series in 1982, Linda faced intense public scrutiny, constantly measured against Fonzie's former love interests. Her career was repeatedly stifled by studio prejudice, as major networks reduced her to a B-list television beauty rather than a serious actress. By the late 1980s, she endured the quiet devastation of seeing deeply personal projects abruptly canceled, sinking into self-doubt while fighting loneliness in a Hollywood obsessed with novelty.
What are you doing?
Well, I need a little bit of something to wash down all the wine that I had with dinner.
The true storm arrived through successive personal ruptures and the industry's cold indifference. Linda endured the pain of 4 failed marriages, most notably the highly publicized breakups with Desi Arnaz Jr. and Alexander Carey, each leaving deep psychological scars in her long search for a place to belong. In 2011, later in life, she was forced into a prolonged legal battle with CBS to reclaim misappropriated image royalties, a stark reminder of the ingratitude of the very system that once elevated her. Her sorrow deepened in 2017 with the death of fellow castmate Erin Moran, who passed away in poverty at a mobile home park. Watching familiar faces fade through illness and hardship, Linda was left to confront the slow collapse of a golden era, alone, inside the quiet walls of her own home. Yet through every tear-soaked chapter, Linda Pearl has kept the flame of artistry alive through introspective jazz performances. With remarkable resilience, she transformed emotional fractures into fuel for deeper roles and richer melodies. Ashley Pfister may belong to the past, but Linda's elegance and inner strength remain enduring symbols, gentle reminders of the power of renewal after loss. Heather O'Rourke as Heather Pfister. Heather Pfister, the little girl with golden hair and clear blue eyes, brought a gentle sweetness to the family moments in Milwaukee. Heather O'Rourke filled the role with innocence and purity, making viewers melt at the sight of such an angelic child. She wasn't just a child actress. She became a symbol of hope and untouched goodness in a constantly shifting Hollywood.
Heather, that means have a good meal.
Merci beaucoup, mon Chiron.
Behind that angelic smile, however, was a childhood quietly stolen by non-stop work and heavy psychological burdens borne on sets and sound stages. From the moment Steven Spielberg discovered her at age 5, Heather carried the weight of being a financial pillar for her family. The iconic scenes she filmed for the horror phenomenon Poltergeist left her with long-lasting nightmares, living with a fear of unseen things. Her rising success also pulled her into the center of rumors about a deadly curse, as people close to the production died suddenly. A 10-year-old had to learn how to face terrifying loss and crushing expectations, until the innocence in her eyes was slowly replaced by silent worry and sorrow. In 1987, a devastating medical error began pushing Heather's life toward a painful dead end. Doctors at Kaiser Foundation Hospital misdiagnosed her with Crohn's disease, forcing the little angel to endure a full year of improper treatment with cortisone-based medication. The side effects left her face swollen, damaging her delicate features and inflicting deep emotional wounds on a child still growing into herself. On the morning of February 1st, 1988, Heather collapsed at the breakfast table, her body overwhelmed by septic shock caused by a congenital intestinal obstruction, the true condition that had been overlooked. She died later that afternoon on the operating table at Rady Children's Hospital in San Diego, only 12 years old. It was a wrongful death, marked by intense physical suffering as toxins ravaged her organs, ending the journey of a bright young star in shock, grief, and worldwide outrage over unforgivable medical gaps. Heather O'Rourke's passing remains a heartbreaking pause in time, reminding us how fragile it is when a flower blooms too early and fades too fast. Though her time on Earth was brief, she left behind unforgettable scenes, warming millions of hearts with her purest light. That little angel is now free from pain and the cruelty of fate, forever resting in one of cinema's most tender memories. And revisiting the lives of the Happy Days cast is not only about turning back golden pages of television, it is an act of empathy for the brave human beings behind the velvet curtain. They gave their youth to weave dreams of happiness for us, even as they crossed storms alone, illness, loss, and the cold betrayal of fame. As those bright smiles drift farther into memory, what remains most deeply in your heart? Tell us which character you loved most in the comments, and let's keep this flame of nostalgia burning together.